Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we're taking a look at Pandemic Hot Zone North America.
That's right, but it's not only in North America there's a hot zone. It's so hot here in Norway now that I'm almost melting. I'm so happy we changed the studio to down here, because if we were trying to film anything upstairs
it's
now...
It's like 10 degrees
warmer.
Celsius difference.
It's not only 10 degrees Celsius, that wouldn't be hot. Like, it's not that cold in Norway. It's not like, oh, today we had 10 degrees.
It's a difference.
So, but that's like a fun thing about Norway.
Yeah.
Like, the ice bears are getting really hot and it's 10 degrees. Whoa!
Ice is melting.
It's actually like 32 degrees Celsius,
coming.
so it's horrible. But yeah, this game, which is what we are supposed to talk about, not
let's get to it.
It is, of course, made by Matt Leacock, and it plays...
from 2 to 4 players in about 30 minutes.
So, if you have seen our channel before, you know that I don't like Pandemic.
And I think it's okay.
So why do we have this? We have it because Asmodee Nordic sent it to us, which we of course are really happy for. So we are really thankful for the, what do we call it, when two people work together? Cooperation, partnership, something like that. Cooperation with Asmodee.
Really cool.
Words are going out of my mind because it's really warm. But yeah, we are getting some games from Asmodee, and this is one of the ones that we just got. And if it was like normal Pandemic and expansion, I'd be like, I do not want that game. But this was kind of different because...
Please, take it back.
Because this is kind of like they have done with other games lately, especially with the Ticket to Ride. They made these like 10-15 minute small versions. We haven't played it yet. We have the new one, Amsterdam, which is coming in a few weeks. We just got that today. So we're going to do a review of that when we are allowed. But they got this, and I was like, okay, let's see what they did with it. Let's see how they changed it up and how they made it maybe shorter, maybe simpler. And we played it, and we are going to tell you how that felt. So, our review here, have you never played Pandemic? You probably have, but basically what you're doing, the world, or in this case North America, is plagued by 3 diseases, and you are moving around on this map trying to remove the diseases, or basically cure them, which is what you're doing thematically. So you are moving around, you can spend the cards that you have in your hand, you can spend them to travel faster to different places, and the goal of the game is to get 4 of the same colored cards. So for example, yellow, it's a color. If you get 4 of the color yellow, then you can move back to Atlanta and you can discard those as an action to find a cure for yellow. And if you find a cure for all the 3 of the diseases before the world is doomed, then you will win. Basically, the rulebook here, not much to say. It tells you how to play Pandemic. It's in Norwegian. It's hard to tell you about like how good the rulebook is, because Norwegian rulebooks aren't usually good. It is okay. It's okay to read. If I had to read this for like a heavy Euro game, I wouldn't be happy. But then again, not really interesting for 99% of you if the Norwegian rulebook for this game is good. I would guess that the rulebook would be good in English. In this like Nordic version, we don't get an English rulebook, so I hadn't had a chance to read that. I could probably have gone to BGG and read it, but I didn't, because it's just pretty simple rules, nothing to add actually there. So the artwork and components, what do you think?
This is Pandemic.
It is.
I've seen it before.
Yes.
This looks familiar.
It does.
And it looks nice. I have no complaints on the artwork or components.
No.
They're great, nice components, and the map and all looks, good. It looks like a Pandemic.
Yeah, it's basically Pandemic. There isn't anything done here. Like, the characters are the same, the action cards are the same. These new crisis cards, which is like the only addition to the game, we're going to come to that later, looks like Pandemic.
Yeah.
Probably seen some of it in Pandemic Legacy or some case of another, but it's just Pandemic, so nothing really to add to that. So we have played it with 3 players. And it took us about 20 minutes. I'm guessing like we did lose.
We lost.
The times we played. But I'm guessing like it's going to be half an hour, because it is a shorter, like Pandemic is usually like an hour. So I'm guessing this is going to be like half an hour.
Yeah. I think that this is a quick game to play. Either you lose fast or you have to win fast.
Yes, absolutely. So
or you have massive AP, and I don't think you need to have that in this game.
No, they have managed to do that. They managed to make it shorter than Pandemic. Like, that is one thing that they have managed to do. So that is a segue into gameplay. What do you think?
I think it's a Pandemic. It just, the suffering of Pandemic lasts shorter. No, I'm just kidding. I actually think Pandemic is quite nice.
Okay.
I enjoy myself while I'm playing Pandemic, even though it isn't my favorite game at all. This managed to give me Pandemic in a short amount of time, which I'm very happy about. So if I were playing with my family, I would probably have more luck getting them to play this than regular Pandemic, because they are not very patient. And if we need like what do you call it, a first run, just a test run to see how the games go, if we lose like in the first 5 minutes, we can just set it up and play it again really fast. What do you think?
I agree with you. Like that is you basically summed up all the positives of the game. Because I'm gonna try to take away the part that I don't like Pandemic, and I think Pandemic is super boring, and I have no idea why it's so popular. But yeah, that is like that. I'm gonna try to if you, of course, this is it's not an objective review. It's my opinions of the game. So of course that's gonna be one of the reasons I don't like this. But when we're gonna make this, like it's called Pandemic Hot Zone North America. It could just be called Pandemic Travel Edition, because it is a pandemic.
Yeah.
There's really nothing added here. There are these seven of these crisis cards, which you can add, which are basically negative events, which you can add to the deck, and they were like, haha, you will something happen, and that is basically it. So other than that, there's really nothing added here. There's really no added value. Pandemic isn't that an expensive game from before, so it's probably not like, oh, we can get this because it's cheaper, especially when they call it something completely different. Like if they call it Pandemic Travel or Pandemic, there's a really bad name, I know, so, but if I was seeing this in a store and I would buy it, I would think, oh cool, this is a new version of Pandemic.
Yeah.
But it isn't.
No, it's just regular Pandemic. What I fail to recall is whether or not you have to travel to a certain spot in the original.
You can build more of the science centers.
Okay, so you have to have a science
Start in
center.
Atlanta, or you can build more afterwards.
Yeah, I don't need.
So they
you don't need a second center in this game. It's
no,
so
that would
small.
make no sense. That would be too simple. But they have simplified it. You only need 4 cards. There's only 3 diseases instead of 4. So they have basically taken Pandemic and then stripped away some things. And
it's just distilled Pandemic in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like normal Pandemic takes about 45 minutes to an hour to play, and this takes about 20 to 30 minutes. So it isn't even that it's a huge time difference. And I'm really disappointed that they didn't add something. That they didn't add a twist, because as I understand, I haven't played any of the expansions because I don't like the game. But when all of the different expansions add something and changes up the rules, changes up how you play, maybe how you win, how you travel, how you do something. This is just the same. And
this is basic.
And as I said already, I would have been super sad if I loved Pandemic and we saw, oh, there's a new Pandemic coming out. It's a shorter one. That's really cool. And I bought it and it was just the same game. I would be really, really sad.
Does it say anything on the back of the box?
I don't have the back of the box right here, so I can't answer that.
Yeah, because
If it
that
says
would
this
be
is the
a
same
huge,
game.
Yeah, this is a huge disappointment if you were expecting something else. I think it's neat for what it is. It's a shorter and more compact version of Pandemic, and it's easy to like get people into. It's easy already though, but I would rather play this than original Pandemic. But that's coming from the two that doesn't like Pandemic as much.
Like, we don't own Pandemic.
No.
And I don't think we'll keep this.
No, but I think this might be something that I could re-gift to my family, because I think they will like it a lot. And I, when I'm thinking about this game, it comes to mind many people who will like this, and
But
those
would they like
people-
it more than normal Pandemic?
I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure normal Pandemic has more replay value, has more different strategies and more different things you can do.
It depends on what you want from Pandemic, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that there is people that, but they could have just added like something. And I understand they did add these, and they will of course add more randomness to an already really random game. But of course, if you love Pandemic, you're probably gonna like these crisis cards. Just gonna add something wacky, and like if you're first gonna do something like this, I think it's good to do it in a game that only lasts 20-30 minutes.
Yes, I agree.
Because if you're like, aha, you lose now because you did something wrong there and you couldn't know how to prevent it.
I agree.
In a 1 hour, 15-minute game, then it would be worse. So I like that they added it here, but I would have loved it to be something different, not just. And maybe that was my like expectations going into it, but and I knew I wouldn't love it because it's Pandemic, and I think like people that is for is basically you have summed it up. If you like Pandemic, but maybe you play with your parents, your family, and people who don't like games, people who think that an hour game is too long, I think this will be really good.
Or travel. Not now, but later.
Yes.
In the future.
In the future. I think absolutely this is for somebody, but obviously it isn't for me.
Yes, I agree.
And that is basically all I have to say.
Yeah, I think we've actually been through the final thoughts right now.
Yeah, but we should do them and a rating as well. So what is your final thoughts?
Yeah, all that I've said.
Yeah, final thoughts done.
And I think I'm trying to be a little objective while I rank it, because this I'm obviously not going to play again because we have this feeling about it, but I don't think that should shape like your view of it.
No, but it's your rating. It isn't.
Yeah,
it isn't an objective rating.
But it isn't a bad game. It's a decent game.
Yeah.
It's solid. It's Pandemic, so I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Okay, I agree with that.
It's I'm neutral to it. I think.
Yes, I agree. It's not for me. As I said, like before we were going to do this review, I was even more negative. But the points that you gave, maybe understand this is for somebody.
Yes.
Because before we doing this review, I was like, why does this exist? And now I can see it, especially if it's like a really cheap price point. It's easy also for people to.
That would be great.
Maybe this will be easier to gift. Like for people who want to get people into the hobby, and now you can maybe buy 3 of this for a copy of Pandemic. I don't know the actual costs, especially not across the whole world, but maybe you can buy 2 then and gift to 2 different instead of buying just 1 and gift to 1. And that is a great thing. I would have picked other games to get people into playing board games, but that's just me.
That is your opinion.
So I'm pretty sure that if you see this and you know you will like it, you will like it. And if you think you won't like it, you won't like it because it's Pandemic. And I'm going to give it a 5. Like, there's no way for me to give it anything else. And you were the happy one in this one, and I'm going to give it a 5. It's just...
I was about to say that you know what you get, but based on the title of the game, you kind of don't.
After this review, you know what you get.
Yes.
So basically, it's Pandemic. It's shorter. Not for me. It's not a bad game. It's a great design.
Yes.
And it has worked for so many years. And it's still selling copies and copies and copies and expansions and versions and versions and versions. So obviously we are in the fewer people. We are in the minority. That's what I was going to say about this game. But it's a solid game, not just for me. You're giving it a 5.5. I'm giving it a 5. It's the end of the review. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Sunniva.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.